Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The scion of Slaanesh, Prince Sigvald the Magnificent, stands poised to do battle with the Lizardmen as they dare to stand against him and his forces of chaos. As we have a Chaos versus Lizardmen matchup, I'll be commanding Chaos, and Urez will be commanding the Lizardmen. So for the Chaos army that I've brought, it is going to be Chaos Marauders for that front line, and they are going to be backed up by some Chaos Warriors with great weapons. We have the Mirror Guard, as they do have Immunopsychology, which is very nice against the Lizardmen, not having to worry about those terror routes. We also are going to have a pair of Chosen with great weapons, one of which on both flanks. So we're going to be rocking in with some very elite units. These guys have 120 armor. They have some fairly decent stats as well, with 48 melee attack and 46 melee defense. And of course, they do have 50 weapon strength, which is going to be armor piercing, which will really help kind of chew through that heavy armor of the dinos. And we also have some more killing power for those big units, as we do have a Shaggoth as well, going to be rolling in at that front line, going to be charging on forward. And for the casting, it is going to be a Chaos Sorcerer of Death, who's going to be bringing in Spirit Leech and Soul Blight. So Soul Blight kind of reduces that armor just a little bit as well in an AoE, so kind of good to kind of chew through the front line, and does reduce that base weapon damage by 30%, which will help even more for the units to trade just a little bit better into the Lizardmen. And of course, we do have Prince Sigvald, and he is going to be rolling in with his Auric armor, as well as Slippery and Stand or Die, so that gives it a nice little bit of melee defense, so he can really just rack up his own melee defense to some ungodly levels. And of course, he does have Perfect Vigor as well, so if he's able to kind of last around to the very end, he is going to be trading much better into anything that the Lizardmen are going to be having on the field. And then for some quick mobility, we have some on the far flank, as we do have some Marauder Horse Masters, some Horsemen, and 2 Chaos Warhounds with Poison. Warhounds with Poison really here to kind of shut down that Chameleon Skink play, and then all of the Horsemen, Horse Masters just kind of good for, I guess, like Pterodons, and just kind of slowly whittle down the opposing side. But for the forces of the Lizardmen, there are going to be 2 Chameleon Skinks who are going to be moving back to their own lines. We have Saurus spears for that front line, and that would be kind of a nice holding force, especially against like that Shaggoth. But all of the great weapons are going to make quick work of these guys, but there is going to be plenty of tools for the high armor of the Chaos, as we have some red crested skinks in the secondary line, going to be backing up all of those spears. And these guys do have poison, they have armor piercing, so that's really helpful against the Chaos forces. Now they are fairly low armored, so that's going to be making those Chaos great weapons kind of useless against them. At least they're going to be a little bit overpriced for what they're going to be looking to, but the Marauders, and then especially like the Horsemen, Horse Masters, are going to be doing very well against these guys, considering they only have that 30 armor. But there's going to be some more a bit of mass as well, as we have a pair of Croxagors going to be going in at that front line, armor piercing, bonus versus infantry, everything you can ask for against Chaos. And then there's a Bastillon with Solar Engine going to be firing its shot downtown, as it is going to be making its way, just going to get some nice damage. Not a whole lot for Chaos to really contend that Bastillon early on. And we have a Skin Priest of Beasts as well with Transformation of Kadan, and for the Lord, it is going to be Gorok, as he does have armor piercing values himself, and just a small character can be hard for like the big Shaggoth to really generate a ton of value on him. And he has the Mace of Ulamak, which gives plus 50% armor piercing weapon damage, plus 40 melee attack, and plus 50% base weapon damage. And he also has the Shield of the Eons, which gives plus 60 armor, and then the Expert Charge defense as well. But that armor is really the big thing, and that is actually in an AoE around him as well, in a 40-meter radius, so it will really help kind of take that charge against the Chaos forces. And he has the Rock of Itza as well to engage in melee. He can it recharges in melee, and then he gets plus 44% physical resist, so he is quite tanky, much like how Prince Sigvald is, considering his Auric armor does give him regen on Sigvald's side, and a Skink Chief as well in the back for just a little bit of extra support, a nice range poison, and a ton of ammunition, so be able to kind of get that poison throughout the fight. That is going to be the armies. So let's get things going, as that Solar Bastillon trying to get some shots in on Prince Sigvald. He is able to kind of dodge most of that, but these Chaos Marauders just taking a massive beating early on, just going to get ripped apart. But the engagement is going to be underway as the spears charge into the Marauders, and then we have the Chaos Warriors in the backline here, going to be charging forward. Mirror Guard also going to be charging into the Saurus Spears amongst the tree line, and front line should go fairly well for Chaos, especially with those Chosen mixed in. And in the backline, the Chaos forces have been able to jump on top of the Chameleon Skinks. Both of the Chaos Warhounds have both been able to jump on them, but the Solar Bastillon and the Summoned Feral Manticore Manticore, able to tear out these bad boys, often cause that to actually naturally route. So we're going to save one of the units. However, the other unit is in a dire straits, completely surrounded by quick mobility, and is getting chewed up more and more and more. But that Bastillon is able to get some nice shots in, but they have lost one of the Chameleon Skinks, and we do have a Soul Blight going down in that front line, reducing that melee, the base weapon damage and that armor of all of these units, so pretty much reducing the armor of the those red crested skinks to 0, but the engagement in the trees, the Chosen with great weapons, they are going to be taking quite a bit of damage from these red crested skinks, but they will trade very well into the Saurus Spears. They should be able to have no problem there, and Prince Sigvald, with the help of the Shaggoth, is trying to bring down Gorok, and they are going to be able to trade some rather decently, but the Shaggoth is surrounded by spears by red crested skinks, and he is getting poisoned by that skink chief right here, so that is going to make his stats quite a bit lower. We kind of take that, see his leadership is already taken, his speed is down, and his weapon strength as well is taken a little bit of a hit, and he is getting very low. We do get a little Spirit Leech onto Gorok, trying to weaken him bit by bit, as there is no healing for the Lizardmen here, so any damage is going to be rather helpful trying to deal with the caster now. But that front line in the center ranks for the Chaos Forces has really been decimated. Those Kroxigors have done quite a bit of work. The only thing really holding is all the Chaos Warriors, the Mirror Guard. The Chosen are the only things still in that front line. Everything else is kind of returning on the back line, though, as the Chaos Warrior trying to clean things up in the back line. Again, just kind of chasing down things and trying to finish off these Chameleon Skinks once and for all. However, the Shaggoth has fallen in that front line to just the massive units there, as the Horsemasters is just trying to clean up this front line. Just going to be getting a nice little charge into the rear of the Saurus Spears with that Soul Blight on. Is going to be able to get them some nice damage, and that rear charge is going to rampage them and hopefully break them as quickly as they can. But in the center ranks, Prince Sigvald is standing alone amongst a horde of very angry Lizardmen, as he's just trying to hold them back. Now, he is rather tanky, but this is quite a few units for him to deal with, especially all by himself. He doesn't have any of his buffs on right now, so he's going to be taking quite a bit of damage. Even Gorok with his Stand Your Ground popped, so giving us a nice little bit of leadership. Cold-Blooded as well is going to be going down on these units, kind of keeping them in the fight. And Chaos really does need to get those units back moving in that back line, but for at least for the time being, these Chameleon Skinks have been shut down, and there isn't really a whole lot of good answers here. We do have that still on a Solar Engine, has been able to rout off one of the Marauder Horsemen, but they are going to be losing those Chameleon Skinks, and the rest of the infantry not looking too great, as they are really spread out now. So the balance power is in the Lizardmen's favor ever so slightly, especially with Prince Sigvald just continuing to take more and more damage. He has popped his Slippery, so his stats are going to be nice and high. So 84 melee defense here with that popped, and he did have Standard Ground pop for at least a little while ago, so his defense was through the roof, able to really tank that damage fairly well. And these Chosen are just slowly getting dragged down, especially all these Kroxigors are just doing such good work against them, and that is one very expensive unit going to be off the field momentarily. But in the tree line, the Chaos has been able to win out against those Saurus Spears and the Red Crescent Skinks, and they are now finally going to be coming to the assistance of their lord. Better late than never, as he is on just slivers of HP. Kroxigors all charging into the Mirror Guard and that Feral Manticore as well, trying to finish off Prince Sigvald, as he is going to be running through his own line, as the Chosen going to be charging on forward, and that Solar Bacillon trying to get some more shots in, as now Prince Sigvald just trying to juke and dodge all of those shots coming in from that Skink Chief. He does have Silver Shield, so he is able to tank that a little bit, but he is wavering right now, and Chaos cannot afford to lose him. They need to keep him around, so he is going to be trying to stay on the move as the shots raining in from the Bastillon, as the Chaos Force is just trying to keep them alive. But that Feral Manticore is in hot pursuit, trying to get and deal the final blow to Prince Sigvald, as he does pop Slippery, so that gives him a little bit of extra melee defense, and he does get a nice little hit though from that Feral Manticore, going to be getting him even lower. But the longer it takes, the more and more he is going to be regenning, slowly but surely, as he gets kicked behind his own line here, and this could be a nice opportunity for the Lizardmen to kind of jump on top of him. He's taking a few shots now. I think this is from the Bastillodon. The shots on the back of it going to be trying to get a few shots in, and that does do poison as well, so it's going to be slowly weakening the Chaos Forces in that regard. And Prince Sigvald is still standing tall though amongst all of these Lizardmen, and the Chaos Force are now diving in as well, just trying to provide a little bit of a distraction to these Lizardmen forces. And down goes the Manticore, just long enough for Prince Sigvald, as he is able to last out that summon there. And now the Chaos Forces are on the move once again. All the warriors and the Chaos Warriors with great weapons coming back to the field, as Sigvald now looks to try and take down that Skink Chief, as he does kind of dive forward, kind of away from more of the heavy hitters, all these Kroxigors and the like. and the Chosen have taken quite a bit of damage themselves, but they are going to be back in the fight momentarily as they're going to be charging into this final brawl of a fight as everything is now converging on the single point. Prince Sigvald just still on slivers of HP, is almost at his healing cap now. He's just taken so much damage throughout this fight, but he's been able to heal through all of it and then some. And Gorak, standing a little off to the side, is going to be taking a Spirit Leech right to the face as the Chaos Sorcerer tries to get a charge in and bring him down, as he is now very, very low, and he's wavering and very well might just break here, and that he does. So the leadership, or one of the leadership, is going to be gone for the Lizardmen, and that brings the balance of power right back to even, as the Chaos Sorcerer does kind of just get out of there just as things kind of start trying to chase after him, and now he's going to be going for Gorak, as he's just going to be making sure that Gorak does stay off the field once and for all. And now Sigvald is at his healing cap, but Chaos Forces, their infantry is getting very, very low, but what is left is very elite. We have Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and the Chosen are still around and kicking. Despite being fairly low, they have 23 bottles left, but they are going to be able to help. I mean, they're almost essential now at this point to get through these Kroxigors, but the Kroxigors do have the advantage against them. They are bonus versus infantry, and they have armor piercing, so they'll be able to really whittle down those Chosen. Standard die is popped, though, giving that additional 24 melee defense and leadership, and the core of the Lizardmen forces are starting to break now. The Sora Spear are starting to break, and there is plenty of mobility left on the fringes as they are just kind of slowly picking things off on the far reaches of the battlefield. Marauder Horsemaster is going to be making sure those Red Crested Skinks, they do get shattered, and these Crass Marauders are going to be coming in, making sure that these Sora Spears and the Kroxigors are all off the field. And now it is down to just that Solar Bastillon and the Skink Priest as they are trying to hold back the tide, and that Solar Bastillon is very high in terms of HP, but its leadership is getting very, very low, danger low in fact, and it is just about to break. And I think that with that Solar Bastillon gone, that is going to be everything for the Lizardmen, and Chaos able to drag things back slowly but surely throughout the fight and pull through with a win. So let's take a look at that after battle report here real quick and just see how things fared on both sides. For the Lizardmen, led by Urez, we have the Solar Bastillon getting 1,300 in total. That was a very nice, was able to continually fire all game long. Chaos really didn't have anything, especially after the Shaggoth did get taken out rather early on. That was a little bit of a misplay on that side. But once the Shaggoth was gone, that Solar Bastillon was just going to be nice and safe here, just kind of continue firing away. Nothing could really bring it down quickly. All of the Kroxigors as well did very well. They had plenty of targets that would do very well against. I mean, all of the Chaos Warriors, I mean, that's just exactly who they want to be fighting. All of the Chameleon Skinks not doing all too great. One of them got 560, but the other one got taken out very quickly on trying to screen out those Marauder Horsemen, especially, unfortunately, all those Chaos Warhounds. They are pretty much the counter to those Chameleon Skinks. They have the poison to match them and the speed to catch them, and once they do catch, they do quite a bit of damage very quickly. All the Sora Spears, one of them actually getting 1,500 in total value, probably against that Shaggoth earlier on, doing a lot of damage to that. And then the Red Crested Skinks as well, they did pretty good themselves, getting 875 on those guys, 500 on the other two. The Skink Chief didn't do as great. Having the Skink Priest of Beast, though, having those two Feral Manticores was not quite enough to bring down Sigvald, but was still a fearsome foe, especially that Terror as well, kind of that mobile Terror that you can kind of put into the field, because Chosen, they are not immune to psychology. However, the Mirror Guard and Prince Sigvald were, and we have Gorak was able to get 1,700 in total. That was a rather nice performance by him. As for the Forces of Chaos, the Shaggoth getting 529, really kind of a lackluster performance, but that especially for something that doesn't cost 2k in total value. Both of the Chaos Warhounds with poison did some decent work themselves. The Marauder Horsemaster getting 976, Horsemen not as great, only getting 285, and then we have the Chosen making up for that Shaggoth, able to get almost 2,000 in total value for that guy, 1,200 on the other. The Mirror Guard did very well themselves, 847, and the Chaos Warriors with great ones, 1,000 on those guys, and then the rest of the units just kind of a little lackluster. But the Chaos Sorcerer Death got 1,000 in total value itself with some nice Spirit Leeches, able to get a few hits in when it counted, and then the Soul Blight as well just kind of helped that front line do just a little bit better. And Prince Sigvald himself, 1,500, and really just keeping him alive was the biggest thing there. If he had gone down just a little bit earlier, that may have been a very different ending for sure. But that is all I'm going to have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.